Hi everybody, this is Sandra Angelo broadcasting live from Sandyland. Super excited to be with you tonight. I think we're on episode number 7. And I am so happy to be back with you. This is always my favorite time of the day because I get to be with you. And I have some really cool stuff tonight. I've been thinking about the way that I'm broadcasting and thinking that I do have some left brain people in here. I mean, some of us are creative and right brain, and so we don't need things super structured, but the people who are more left brain kind of like it when you lay it out ahead of time and kind of tell them what they're going to get. So today I'm actually going to be telling you what we're going to do, and then we're going to do it, and then I'm going to tell you what we did. So basically, I'm always going to start out with the motivation. So that's what's going to be the first on the agenda when I'm talking to you. And then I'm going to go ahead and jump into that day's lesson. So it's a tip from Pencil Drawing College about how you can improve your art. And that will be really fun and exciting to see every night. And then I'm going to come back and kind of wrap it up with your homework assignment, and hopefully you're following along with us and posting your goals and your why. And then tomorrow we're going to be taking a poll which will help you enjoy the broadcast that we're going to have on Friday. So everything is all set for you, and we're super excited about this journey that we're taking together in the beginning of 2018. It's just super fun to read your comments and to see people posting in from Gibraltar. Sandra Lane is her name, from Gibraltar, and she posted, I think it was last night, which is morning here in San Diego, that she's sleeping when we're broadcasting, but she jumps out of bed every morning, and even before she starts her day, she turns this on and listens to it. So we're excited that people are logging in from all over the world, and I just want you to know that I can't see your comments for some reason, so I'm just going to see if that'll work better. Maybe I can see your comments if I do that. But anyway, so I can kind of see them on the computer, but I'm here on the tablet, and so that's why I may not be responding. But hi Boyd and hi Marianne, glad to see you're with us again. So today I did what I normally do in the morning, and that is I spend time preparing my brain for the day. Just like you have breakfast in the morning, I have breakfast, and then I have breakfast for the brain. And the way that I do that is I spend a quiet time listening to God. I read the Bible because it's full of so much wisdom. I read this amazing book called Wake Up to Hope, and that's backwards because I'm in the selfie mode, but it's by Joel Osteen. And then I read Guideposts, which is full of stories about miracles. So it helps me believe in miracles for me, because I know if they happen for you, then they're going to happen for me. And so I write down 10 kisses on the cheek, so all the things that I'm super grateful for. And that way I focus on gratitude, and it gets me always noticing the good things in my life. And then if I have requests for my Abba Father, I will write them in a little journal too. So this morning, and if I forget to do that, you know what? The day is not the same. It's kind of like when you skip breakfast by 10 o'clock, you're just falling apart. I don't know about you, but I get cranky when I'm hungry, and I get irritable, and just, things don't go well. And so it's real important for me to get breakfast for my body and breakfast for my brain, so I know that I'm not really in charge. I am in charge of taking initiative and taking action, but there's someone higher than me who can override the bad things that are happening and who can make things go really well. So I'm going to talk today, and my title of my topic, I'm just grasping for it here. I think I'm going to call it, All You Need Is a Little Faith. The Bible says if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, that's enough. And mustard seeds are really, really tiny, and they grow into huge trees. And that's pretty much what happened to me. When I started, I was not qualified, not talented, not trained, didn't have the money, Didn't have the time, didn't have anything that I needed to succeed, but I had faith the size of a mustard seed. And today I was reminded of that because something happened to me several days ago that was just really tough. Yeah, I got some news that was really, really tough to receive, and from a friend, and I just, I kind of felt like someone had kicked me in the stomach, and I was having trouble dealing with it like all human beings. And today when I was sitting with my Abba Father and I was talking to him about it, he gave me this amazing message, and it was actually from this book that I'm reading, and I'm going to read it to you because it's just that good. So it always starts out with a scripture. This is called Wake Up to Hope Devotional. And by the way, I always put all the books that I like and I recommend, the ones that feed my brain and keep me positive, I put those on sandrasfavoritestuff.com. So you can go over there and buy them. And we get a little bit when you click on those links, which is just supporting us for supporting me for finding good stuff for you. So go to sandrasfavoritestuff.com if you want this book. It's really cool. Okay, so it starts out, but my servant Caleb, because he has a different spirit, has followed me fully. And I will bring him into the land which he entered, and his descendants will take possession of it. And he's talking about the promised land, because here's what happened. Moses was taking the Israelites through the desert to go to the promised land because they used to be slaves and they were freed, and so they were going to go to the promised land so they could run their own lives instead of being slaves. And so Moses was leading them through the desert, and it was challenging. It was kind of like herding cats. Dealing with people can be very challenging. But when they got to the promised land, it was occupied. And so Moses sent in 12 spies to see what it was like. And 10 of those spies 12 spies saw these huge giants. And 10 of the spies reacted in fear. And they came back with the report to Moses, and they said, there's no way. We can't take the promised land because it's full of huge giants. There's no way this is going to happen. But you know what? Joshua and Caleb didn't do that. They came back and they said, our God is bigger than those giants. They believed, they had faith the size of a mustard seed that they could conquer the giants and take the land. Now notice when you come to the promised land, it's not unoccupied. You don't have to not fight. You just still have to fight the battle to get in there. And I'm living in my promised land, and there's still battles even in my promised land. But if I have faith that my God is bigger than the giants and that he'll fight those battles for me, I can take that land. So what happened was the 10 people who weren't positive, who came back and said, there's no way we can do this, they poisoned all the people, all the Israelites. And so that negativity just pervaded the whole group. And you know what? Not one single one of them made it to the promised land. Because they were so negative, God just let them die out. But you know what? Caleb and Joshua made it to the promised land because they believed, even though everybody else didn't. I mean, all these people didn't believe, but Joshua and Caleb did. And the point of my lesson today is that if you don't believe, you limit what can happen. Because I'm limiting God. He can't help me if I don't have faith. I have to have faith. It's essential. If I don't have faith, he can't do anything. He can't let me into the promised land because it's going to take faith to conquer those giants. And so I realized this morning that this problem that I'm facing, that's really a giant. It's a big giant. I don't like it at all. But you know what? He's bigger than that giant. And he's never let me down. I mean, I have faced so many giants in my life. I could write screenplay after screenplay and novel after novel about growing up in Africa and living through the war and evacuating and being rescued by mercenaries and thrown into prison and all kinds of things. We were captured by the soldiers and thrown into prison, and the stories go on and on and on. But every time, God showed up with his angels, and I made it through. And so this giant that I'm facing right now, he's got it. All I'm supposed to do is have a little bit of faith. Just a little bit, the size of a mustard seed. If you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you can move mountains. Mountains. And so that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. And I also wanted to talk to you about this. We don't have people in the art village who don't have faith. And here's why. It's like what God did with the Israelites. He realized that those 10 negative people were going to poison the other people around them. So he let them die off. And that's what we believe in the art village. We don't want the poisonous people in here. The people who don't believe they have enough money, who don't believe they have enough time, who don't believe they have enough talent, who believe that work is interfering, who are negative and don't believe in their dreams. They don't make it into our colleges and into the art village because we weed them out and we make sure that the only people that are in there are the people who believe. Now, I didn't say talented or as big as a giant, I just say you have to have the faith. You have to believe that you can do it, and you have to believe in your dreams. You have to believe that you can conquer this amazing, difficult, for some of you it's ridiculously difficult, like it was for me. I mean, when I started, I had no art talent. I had almost no training. I had no training in writing. I had no training in producing. I still haven't had writing and producing training. But I didn't need to do that. And then I had no money. I was working 4 jobs just to put food on the table. And I had all kinds of other extenuating, very difficult circumstances in my life. But I wrote down my goals 28 years ago on a piece of lined yellow notebook paper. And I wrote down that someday I was going to be a world famous artist. I was going to be a #1 best-selling author. I was going to be an award-winning producer. I was going to be a millionaire. I was going to be super successful. I was going to be taking people on trips that fulfilled their dreams. And I was going to be successful doing something that theoretically our culture says you can't succeed at. They say that teachers are poor, artists are poor, writers are poor. All the things that I want to do were the things that people think you can't make money. And you know what? I became a millionaire doing all those things because I believed, and belief opens the door. Belief is the seed that you plant. And I really believed it. I really did. I mean, it was sort of ludicrous. When you looked at my work, and you're going to see some of the bad art tonight, you're going to say, whoa, I can't believe she believed it, because she was really bad. And so if you're really bad, I hope it encourages you when you look at how bad I was. And you look at how ill-equipped I was. And you look at how poor I was. And you look at how I wasn't trained and I didn't have talent. And now I've achieved way more than was even on that list. I never put on that list that Anthony Robbins, a world-famous speaker, would hire me and fly me to Venice, Italy to teach his Platinum Club on the Grand Canal, all expenses paid, and pay me 80% of what I earn in a year for 4 days of work. That wasn't on my list. I didn't dream that Louise Hay would pull up to my classes in her Rolls Royce and take all my art classes. At the time, I didn't even know who she was. I didn't dream that ABC's Good Morning Texas would call me one day and say, can y'all teach somebody how to draw in 7 minutes? And I did it. I didn't know that HGTV was going to call me and ask me to do 5 television shows in Opryland in Tennessee. It wasn't on my list. But what was on my list was the fame part and the mustard seed. Here's peanut butter. You're a little late tonight, peanut butter. But at least he came, right? And I did believe. I believed in a little bit. And you know what happens? God supersizes your dreams if you believe in Him. If you happen to belong to Him. It doesn't happen for everybody, but those who belong to Him and believe, He supersizes your dreams. Way more. And there's a verse in the Bible that says, exceedingly abundantly above what I can ask or even think. And that's what He's done for me. Exceedingly abundantly above what I can ask or think or even wrote down. And so it's just been awesome to watch. Yes, let's have a kiss. Thank you. Oh, you're such a sweetheart. He loves to kiss. Okay, peanut butter, why don't you take a nap? So, I am so excited about the things that happen to me, but this is the nature of success. It snowballs. So, when you get a little bit of success, all of a sudden, things start happening to you that you didn't anticipate. I didn't even enter that contest for Scripps Women's Hospital. It was a 5-star hospital birthing center that they were creating to make it like the Ritz for rich ladies that wanted to go have their babies in a fancy place. They put out a contest and they were going to pick 3 artists to create work for that beautiful center. I didn't even enter. They contacted my agent and asked me to enter. And not only did they pick 3, they picked 9. They had me draw a whole wing. That wasn't on my list. You know, so a lot of times all it takes is faith the size of a mustard seed. Just believing and taking that first step, signing up with a master, signing up for the program, and believing that somehow it's going to happen for you. And you're willing to take that first step and then write down your dreams. You know, there's a lot of power in writing things down. And so it's really important. Did you notice that my sweater has a cat on it? And peanut butter's being the sweater on my cat right now. That's funny. Anyway, so that's my motivation speech for today. And I just want to say that if you have faith, even the size of a mustard seed, just a little bit of faith, and you really believe that you can do this, even if you're really bad, and you don't have the money, and you don't have the time, and you're not sure, you know, if you just put in that little bit of faith, you know, you can succeed like I did. And so I would encourage you to have faith the size of a mustard seed, even if it's just the size of a mustard seed. If you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you can move mountains. And you can conquer the giants with help from our Father. And so that's our motivational talk for today. Now what I'm going to talk about is the huge mistake that so many people make, and I made it too. I'm going to use my bad art as an example today. I do that because, peanut butter, he's causing a little chaos. He likes to be the center of attention, in case you haven't noticed. There's a bunch of number 1 mistakes, but let's just call it in the top 3. One of the top 3 mistakes that people make is they don't get their values right in their drawings, and so their stuff just lays flat. And that is a real problem, not just in drawing, but when you move into watercolor, oils, acrylics, pastels, colored pencil, airbrush, anything that you're working on, if your values are not correct, even in graphic design and quilting, if your values are not correct, your stuff just lays on the paper and it doesn't pop off. And so I'm going to talk to you about the principles of contrast today. I'm going to show you some examples of bad art, and then I'm going to tell you what they did wrong. I'm going to show you how that translated into colored pencil art with my work, and how my really bad colored pencil art was so awful and what was wrong with it, what I was doing wrong. And then I'm going to show you what I learned from the masters when I apprenticed with them. And that was one of the first things my master taught me, was how to correct the values, because I had a real lack of range of values. I could draw pretty well, because I'd had some drawing courses in my college program, but nobody knew anything about colored pencil in those days. I think there was only sets of maybe 24 colors. I mean, when the masters were growing up, there was only 6 colors of colored pencil. It just wasn't thought of as a master's medium. Now we have sets with 150 colors. But in those days, colored pencil was not an option, and so they never taught me about it in college. So when I started working with colored pencils, I knew nothing. There was no books, there was no, videos, there was nothing. And even when the books came out, they didn't really help me because there wasn't anybody to tell me which papers to use. Because we have a tendency to think that if this master uses white paper and this brand of pencils, then I should use white paper and this brand of pencils for everything that I do. But that's like a recipe. It's like, because you use cinnamon on cinnamon rolls doesn't mean you use it on scrambled eggs, And so to think that you copy what the master does for everything you do is just wrong, and that's why you see so much really bad art out there. There's a whole bunch of colored pencil groups that are all copying one method of the master, and the results are horrible. It hurts your eyes. And it makes me sad. I want to, just tell them, hey, go to coloredpencilcollege.com and take some classes. It's not open now. It's sold out. But anyway, so I'm going to go now and move over to the computer, and I'm going to talk about a huge problem, one of the top 3 problems, which is lack of contrast, and how lack of contrast in drawing translates into lack of contrast in painting with oils and acrylics and colored pencils and pastels and airbrush and anything you're painting with. Even when you're doing graphic design, if you get the values wrong, the work won't translate. Excuse me. Oh, Jelly's here. Maybe she's going to help us with the critiques. So anyway, I'm going to talk about the fact that mastering contrast with drawing is the best way to do it, because we only have 12 pencils to choose from, so it's much less confusing than learning how to use watercolor and how to use colored pencils and which papers to use and all. There's so much more to learn in 5th and 6th grade. So if we learn all this in 1st grade, it's like learning how to read in 1st grade and learning how to write in 1st grade. Then when you go to 2nd grade, you know how to read all that stuff, and you know how to write, and so you can do your homework. But if you don't learn how to read and write, when you're in 4th grade, it's really hard, because you don't know how to read and write. So that's why we're offering Pencil Drawing College, even to the people who think they're pretty good at art. A lot of them need to go back and take this 1st grade, because they never really learned how to shade properly. And their contrasts are just really, really wimpy. I see it. Like 96.9% of the art that I see has a lack of contrast. Because most people don't take foundations in art. They don't understand that you don't start in 6th grade, you start in 1st grade. And hardly anybody offers 1st grade. I mean, I used to only teach the non-artists, and I wouldn't let gifted people in my classes. And one of the reasons is they don't follow instructions, so they never got better, and I just hate that. And so, they started banging on the door and just like begging me, please let us in, because nobody's teaching these classics and these foundations like you do, and nobody makes it super simple so that we can become good fast. And we promise, we'll do the homework, we'll follow your instructions, please let us in. So now my, programs consist of both the horrible artists and people who are gifted. But they just need this training, because you're not born with this knowledge. It's something that you need to learn from a master. So now I'm going to go through that bumpy part. Oh, you know what? I can see the screen from here. Let me just see. Marianne's catching us from her phone. Okay. Oh, it's in the wrong mode. She's posting about Colored Pencil College. Yeah, Marianne, Colored Pencil College is over, so we're not coaching on that right now. We're talking about Pencil Drawing College. So I'm going to go over to the computer screen and I'm going to grab today's lesson. And like I said before, this is bumpy when I make this transition. So I apologize in advance that it's going to be a little bit bumpy till we get over there and I get set up. And it's getting a little better every day, but let's see here.